Winning fights in Apex Legends can honestly just be difficult, but after putting in thousands of hours of practice and experience, I have some key fundamentals that I don't think get talked about enough that I genuinely believe will instantly help you guys win more fights if you're thinking about them going into your next play session. This is going to come in the form of another Inside the Mind video where we go over some Apex gameplay of mine and I talk through my thought process, basically why I made the decisions I did in those gameplays. And finally, all these gameplays are captured live on my Twitch stream, so if you want to stop by, say what's up, and watch some gameplays just like this, I'm live every single day. Now let's get into it. Now as we're dropping in here, I want to let you guys know one of the major keys we're going to be focusing on throughout this video, and that's going to be dealing damage without taking it in return. Now this is something I've talked about in past Inside the Mind videos as well, but I really want to focus on it because I think it is one of the least talked about keys to winning fights in Apex. Now I know it sounds obvious, deal damage, don't take damage back, but it really does have to be a conscious thought you have while playing, especially when trying to get better at it, because it is really easy to tunnel vision and focus so much on dealing damage that you forget not to take it in return. So one example is going to be playing doorways a lot. Right here, you see me playing the doorway. The doorway allows me to deal damage and then quickly close the door so I don't take damage. Now we go ahead and wrap around for a quick reposition to catch this enemy team off guard, and we're using this little piece of cover to deal damage and then quickly duck behind. Now I know there was an AFK player there. I didn't kill him right away for a reason. It's so that when I needed 50 HP, I could quickly knock him for that 50 HP. We go ahead. There ended up being another solo caustic, a little bit chaotic here, but you saw me get right back to that doorway. Like I said, I'm always looking for a doorway. In the back of my head, in every fight, I am looking for where's the nearest doorway that I know I can get back to for cover, that I know I can get to play where I can quickly deal damage, close to not take damage. Now we get a guy randomly landing in on us. We go ahead and get to the doorway. Now he uses the Maggie Q. This gets a little bit scary here, so we go ahead and we use that panic button, which is Wraith's Q, to go ahead and reposition where to another door. So as you can see, doorways super important, especially for this first key that I wanted to talk about, because they're just such a great piece of cover to play around. That also right there, we open it up and we're dealing damage safely. And right there, I dealed probably 200 damage and took nothing in return. Now we go ahead and get that full elimination. We wrap behind the fight that we hear going on inside. And you're going to see me play this doorway. I try not to overcommit in case he turns around and starts to beam me. But we end up just cleaning up that free elimination. And we get off to a really nice start here. Now the next major key that I'm also going to be talking about, and I like to give you guys these key ideas as early as possible in the video so that you're able to really see how I'm applying these things throughout the entire gameplays that we're going to be going over, is going to be patience. Now, again, sounds super fundamental, but patience is so key, especially as a solo player, to winning fights in Apex. There is so many times you'll watch people like Faide, Aceu, some of the goats of just 1v3ing, and it looks like they're such aggressive players, but when you really pay attention to how they're playing, they are super patient, and that is something that I've been working on implementing more and more into my own gameplay. So right here, we get in a situation where between two teams, and it's not looking too hot. So this is a perfect time to go ahead and use a Wraith portal. This is going to allow my teammates to also get out of that bad situation and get me out of that bad situation so that we don't become the middle of two teams in a third-party situation. Now, I know that there's a chance that they're going to follow by taking our portal, so I start to climb up to high ground here. And I'm not going to lie, I make a little bit of a mistake here thinking that we could get the res off. I didn't hear him take that portal. Maybe they ran up and didn't actually take the portal, but it's no big deal. We get right back onto the high ground, which is going to be the power position in this fight. And I get absolutely beamed. Some really nice shots by the dude we were fighting. And so I have to go ahead and pop a shield bat here, and while I'm doing that, my teammate goes down. Now, I go ahead and try to get on this doorway, and a teammate comes behind me with no audio. Now, if you saw there, I didn't move off that door so that I couldn't get pushed from behind. Even though standing still is bad 99% of the time, that is one of the times where it was good, because we just could not allow that door to be opened. I then use the Q to create some space and back up, and we end up taking damage from the side. That was completely unexpected. He's probably their third teammate, and he's a little bit behind. So now we have to go ahead and play this piece of cover. Now watch how I try to deal damage without taking it. Deal damage. As soon as he starts shooting back, I'm back behind cover. Deal damage, back behind cover. I now realize, okay, it's a full team of 3. The guys in the building are going to start pushing up on me. I got to get out of there. So that's an example of me being a step ahead and preemptively creating space. I wasn't getting jumped on by a full team yet, but I knew that I was going to. A lot of times, if you're playing solo and a full team jumps on top of you, it's because you didn't create enough space early enough. You were waiting until you were in immediate danger to try to back up with your Q, but then it's too late. You have to create the space before they're all able to jump on top of you. So that's why I did that. Now, here's going to be an example of a little bit of patience. This isn't exactly what I was talking about. I was talking about patience within fights. But this is a situation where I absolutely just cannot rotate out that way. And we're going to have to take the long way. Now, I'm going to skip ahead for the sake of the video here so you guys don't have to watch me do this long rotation. But I'm going to go ahead and rotate all the way wide left to get into zone here. And I think it just shows that even as an aggressive player and somebody who wants to take as many 1v3s as I possibly can for content, and just because I enjoy playing that way, sometimes you still have to know, okay, this fight is just not winnable. I cannot push this way, or I can't fight this team in the area that I'm currently in. Whether they have a better position or better weapons, maybe better shields. There's all sorts of situations. You have to be able to dynamically adapt to the situation and figure out how to play your life, because I always say, even if you're on 8, 9, 10 kill game and you try to take a bad fight and die, well, you come into, let's say, 4th place with 10 kills, or you could have been a little bit more patient, taken the long way, and then you could go ahead and win that game with 15 kills. Is it the 20 kill win? Maybe not, but at least you got the 15 kill win instead of the 10 kill loss. Now right here, this quick elimination we're going to end up getting in this building is a nice example of an uncommon route, I would like to call it, where instead of just walking into the building, going up the stairs, I hear somebody up top, I go ahead and hit a little climb up on the side of the building. Maybe this is a little bit unexpected and catches this guy off guard that I could be up top that fast. And we just go ahead and get a free elimination here. Absolutely nothing crazy, but thinking about little uncommon routes you can take, whether it's to get on a roof of a building. This is something I've seen aceu do so many times over the years, and it always catches people off guard, and getting that opening elimination can be huge sometimes. We saw a team revive over here, so we're going to go ahead and push towards that, and watch how I play this box. Watch how I deal damage without taking it. Quick peek, deal damage, and I'm already unpeaking before he even shoots at me. And so what it also does to the enemy, as I choke a little bit of shots there, I can't lie, is me dealing damage and then unpeaking, he starts to shoot, and by the time he reacts to me going back behind cover and stops to shoot and starts to run, I'm re-peaking, catching him off guard as he's trying to run away. Now, not really sure where this guy's team was exactly, but after looking around for a little bit, we don't find anybody else, so we're just going to go ahead and hit an evac tower here. And using this evac tower, we're going to try to get as much information as we possibly can. We end up having a Valka as a teammate, which also helps because we get these free pings on the enemy over on this rooftop. So I'm going to go ahead and land on another rooftop, which is going to be the best power position to fight this fight from. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to try to use this as a head glitch as best as I can, but we end up spotting another team to our left, so now we have to be very careful. I end up taking a little bit of damage there. I should have been a little bit more ahead of that. That is a mistake by me because I knew I would get shot from the left, but I go ahead and reposition to a spot where I won't take damage from the left, and I can just fight this one-on-one. And after dealing some damage, I thought he would back off a little bit. He does not, and we end up going basically 50-50 on damage, which is not ideal, but no big deal. We go ahead and pop a battery. Sometimes it's going to be like that. You just won't be able to get the opening you're looking for on the first spray or two. You got to be patient, which we are right here. And I also know that a third party is about to roll in behind us. They do just that. And so now this is where things can get a little bit hectic. I try to wrap behind this Bloodhound. I miss a bad shot there, but we're able to clean up the limb. And after seeing it's a full team wipe, there's just one team left. We go ahead and hit that ultimate to get out. Now, unfortunately, both my teammates are going to go down here, and I wasn't able to save them with this ult, but I'm going to use the ult in a way to throw it up in the air. You'll see Faide do this all the time as well, and we're going to use that so that it disorients the enemy when they get out of it if they decide to take it. Imagine getting hit by a Wraith portal or going through a Wraith portal. You come out the other end and you're just falling out of the sky. It's definitely very confusing, and the enemy won't know where they are. So that's a great trick you can use to try and get some free damage if they do chase you through a portal. They end up not chasing, which is absolutely fine. We hit the replicator, and we're going to go ahead, get our teammates up, and get a full reset here. And that's another great example of patience, to be honest. Knowing when, like I said, as much as I want to get as many kills as possible in this gameplay, you just simply can't fight that 1v3 where we were. It wasn't a great spot to fight. The bang ult was coming down on top of me, so we go ahead, hit a reset here. I use the Q to cross that area because I don't want to take damage, get slowed in the open while crossing that bridge, so I want to be super careful. They know that we just revived there, so I thought they could have been right on top of us. Ended up nobody being around, and you'll see me go ahead, use a little climb up to get back on a roof here. Now, This guy ends up being right in front of me. I was not expecting that. We hit a really nice R99 spray on him and then use the PK to finish off that first knock. Now, this is the last team, so now that we're in a 3v2, instantly, we're going to be super aggressive here. Now, I see my teammate taking a 1v1 with the guy upstairs, so I'm just going to sit on this nice off angle and hold it. Now, unfortunately, he goes up on the roof, so we arc star that off so that he can't push down and go ahead and reposition. Constant repositioning, another huge key for 1v3s or just outplaying teams in general and winning more fights. We catch them in the middle of the revive, get an easy cleanup, and now in a 3v1, this is a pretty easy cleanup for the win right here. I go ahead and hit another reposition. I wasn't sure that he was up top. After I see it, we go for a little inspect trick shot, you know what I'm saying? We don't end up getting it. My teammate's going to go ahead and clean up the last kill. And we go ahead and drop a nice little 10 elimination, almost 3K dub right there. But I have another gameplay showing off these fundamentals and even a couple more. And so we're going to get right into that. Now, we go ahead, land it on a PK, grab it off the arsenal again, and we go ahead and play those doorways like I was saying. We get a nice opening bit of damage there on the lifeline. I'm going to get to the zip line because I know that's a position that I can control fights from in this building. Now, unfortunately, we're not able to get the full kill on the Watson there, and I know she's going to fence that off. So we reposition down low and are able to pick up a nice limb. Now we get no audio, get caught off guard, you know, Apex things. But we go ahead and hit that Q on Wraith to get out of that situation and reposition up to the roof. Now, we know that there's one more team here, but I'm not sure how many there is left. But we're going to go ahead, take a second here to try and pop some heals. When the enemy ends up walking up at us, they end up missing their shots, which worked out nicely. We get a piece of cover, finish popping that heal. And now I can hear my teammates fighting down low. Now we get the squad wipe, but I still hear an enemy down low. So there actually was another team. I hear my teammate fighting with them. So I try to hit a little flank on them when I hear footsteps behind me again. So we go ahead. The audio came in handy there for once. Clean up the kill on the Path B, sliding on the Sparrow, who only had a bow right there, so he wasn't hitting many shots. And we hear that another team must have rotated in after hearing all the shots going off, and I hear them down low. So at this point, again, I'm trying to hit another one of those little flank repositions where I'm able to walk in behind the enemies as they're fighting my teammates. But unfortunately, somebody was already outside holding that angle, so it doesn't work out. No big deal. We have that patience here to completely reset, completely reposition, and wrap from the other side. Now, we're going to go ahead and focus on dealing big damage without taking any in return, which is what the PK is so good at. But in the back of my head, I knew that that Maggie was holding us from the other side and that there was a good chance she was going to wrap from that angle. So I peek it aggressively with the PK and catch her in a running animation. That was information that I stored in the back of my head, trying, especially as a solo player, to always keep an idea of where the fight is, where every enemy on the enemy team is as best as you possibly can, and try to be predicting where they're coming from. I would say that's another one of the major keys to winning more fights, is trying to think from the enemy's perspective. Really trying to put yourself in their shoes, saying, if I were them, where would I wrap to? Or where would I position myself is super key, because it's going to allow you to be that 1 or 2 steps ahead in fights. And that's what it's going to take, especially as a solo player, to pull off 1v2, 1v3 situations, or even just win more fights in general. Now we're going to go ahead and third party this fight. We hear 2 teams fighting over at Gardens, and a saying I always say in my stream is, be the bread in the sandwich, not the meat. Basically meaning, if you already have 2 teams fighting, make sure to come in from the outside and not put yourself in the middle of those 2 teams. So we go ahead, we get some nice initial damage off. Probably could have done a little bit more there, but it is what it is. And we're going ahead and trying to gain information right now. I'm trying not to overcommit, trying to deal damage at range, which isn't ideal with the loadout I have, but we're doing the best we can. And like I said, I'm trying my best not to put myself, as bad as I want to be aggressive and get in there, I don't want to be in the middle of 2 teams. We end up lasering somebody with the R99, some really nice shots there, and that's going to be an opportunity to try to work in and close the gap. I'm doing so, but trying not to be over aggressive. You see me drop down here. This is to use this little piece of cover as a head glitch, but somebody comes up behind me, so we use a little bit of movement to get out of there. Maybe a little greedy right there. I really wanted to try to get that first knock onto the Loba. Now, unfortunately, we're not able to do so, and now I sense that the other team is probably going to rotate in. We're going to get caught in the middle of 2 teams, so I'm going to go ahead and just completely reposition. Now, again, like I've said, this is not something I want to do. I want to be aggressive. I want to go for kills, but part of being an aggressive player and dropping high elimination gameplays is being patient and knowing when the fight is not winnable. This was a situation I needed to heal. I needed to create space here, completely back off and hit a reset. And hitting a reset normally won't even take as long as you think, especially in this scenario. I had overflow, which is the best amp in the game. So it was no problem at all. We could quickly get healed up. And a lot of times when you do this, it feels like, oh my gosh, if I hit this reset, it's going to take forever and we're going to miss out on all the kills. But the reality is, if I didn't have to hit these revives, it would have been even quicker. But even still, we're going to hit these 2 revives and we're going to get right back into the fight and probably have even better timing and look at third-partying these 2 teams instead of being caught in the middle of them. And little examples of playing your life like this instead of being overly aggressive are genuinely game-changing. I'm telling you, you will win so many more fights if you focus on taking less damage, playing your life more, and not worrying about being so overly aggressive before you create the openings you need to create those opportunities to be aggressive. Now, right here is an opportunity to be aggressive after getting a nice 100 spray with the R99. But even still, it just took too long to close the gap. The zone's coming in. We're getting shot from the side, and I'm just not liking this situation overall. So again, we're going to hit the Q. We're going to back up, hit a heal, and reset. We go ahead and quickly craft a little bit of ammo there because I was super low, especially on light ammo. And like I said, we're going to be patient in this situation. I'm still not sure. Is there 1 team? Is there 2 teams? Is there a team holding us on zone? And as I walk up even just a little bit, we go ahead and get shot at, so we have to grab some cover. I take a ton of damage from the right as well, which catches me off guard. So we go ahead, hit that Q, and back up again, creating space so that the enemy can't jump on us while we're a little bit weak. Now again, overflow coming in handy here. All we need to do is pop 1 shield cell, and we'll be back to 100% shield. But I see somebody in front of me, so we cancel the shield, try to deal that damage, especially as a skirmisher. Getting the knock would give us that 50 health regen or shield regen. And now this enemy gets trapped on this box, so we go ahead and close the gap. And this is just going to be a pretty easy cleanup. He goes to hit the pad with a nice little bit of aim right there. We beam him out of the sky. And I think that, again, it's kind of the same point that I've said a couple times already, but we're on 7 eliminations, which is a pretty good start to a game right here. And you could be thinking, well, dang, if you got a couple more of those by being a little bit more aggressive, you'd be on maybe 12. But it just doesn't work like that. If those situations that we couldn't have been in, we tried to force just for the extra eliminations, it would have cost us. We probably would have went down and this game would have been over. So a lot of how to win more fights is honestly learning to know when you can fight and when you have to back up and create space or reset a fight. This is something I'm telling you that if you keep it in the back of your mind as you're playing, it'll just improve more and more with time. And as you get better at it, you're going to find yourself winning way more. Now we go ahead, we hit that evac tower to rotate out of the zone, and we spot some teams fighting down low near Hammond Labs. So I'm going to push down the hill, looking to get some angles to third party this, and I notice that a full team's actually zipping across the entire map right there. So we go ahead and hit a nice R99 beam, but when the bang pops her ult, I'm going to use my Q to get out of that. I want to get back on top of this building. This is the power position to be. And we're able to do that using the Q to get a free elimination right there on the Watson. Now, instantly, I'm using the prediction that I talked about earlier to try and predict where her teammates might be coming from, but they weren't as close as I thought. They either retreated all the way down the hill towards the lab, or that's a whole different team, but I thought there was a chance they would have been close. We go ahead, we get the full elimination on the Watson, and now we know that, okay, either it's her 2 teammates down low in the lab, or there's a whole nother team. Either way, we're going to want to start working down and fighting this. However, we do know that we have the zone closing in behind us soon. As I'm thinking all of that, my teammate starts getting shot at. This is probably the Watson's teammate or teammates. So we go ahead and work back. Not the greatest shots out of me right there, but we're able to clean up another elimination. And it's not a full elim, however, so there is still 1 teammate left. I have no idea where that last teammate is. And I try my best here to hit a portal play to get my teammate out as the zone was closing in. But because he had gone down a couple times already, his timer was a bit shorter. So I wasn't able to get to him in time to hit the portal and get him out of there. But now with the zone closing in behind us, this is going to be a time to go ahead and rotate. Now, in the back of my head, I know there was a team in labs that wasn't most likely the Watson's other teammate because I thought there was multiple there, and we took on that Bangalore out in the open. So it's probably a whole new team. Now, most likely this team has already rotated in and is going to be up in front of us in this choke point because it'd be very unlikely for them to be behind us on this rotate with how far back we were. And so now as we go into this choke point, we're having the mindset, okay, there's most likely going to be a team on the other side. I don't want to be too overly aggressive and put myself in a spot with no cover. And so after hearing some footsteps on the other side of that choke point, I go ahead and back up. Now I also noticed that there is a spot that we can revive our teammate behind us. So I asked my teammate, would you be able to go revive? I'll hold this choke point for us and just try to deal some damage. I don't want to take anything in return because I don't want them to be able to jump on top of us, but just deal some damage so that they can't cross and push as we're trying to get this revive off. Now, he calls out that there was actually another team on him. I turn around and look and I didn't see anything, so I come back into this choke point to kind of put some pressure on these guys inside. But then I hear that the enemy team behind is starting to push up on my teammates. So now we're in a pinch situation. This is not very good at all. Luckily, I have overflow, so I'm able to get a quick heal off using a shield cell. And I'm going to fall back here, and we have to prioritize quickly getting rid of this team behind us before we get pinched by 2 teams. Now, a really nice grenade there by the enemy to throw me up out of my piece of cover I was using. And I use a shield cell while I'm sliding down the hill to keep my momentum and keep creating space while also getting those heals off. Overflow helps even more with that. It's good to do all the time, but especially with overflow. And I hear this rampart start to work up on my left. Now I'm purposefully trying to use this rock to my right so that the other team doesn't have an angle while I go ahead and 1v1 the rampart. Now I make a really big mistake here. I saw my teammate's nameplate on the top of this hill, and I just instantly assumed that the other team had backed off or that he had won that fight up top. So I go out in the open, and I end up getting absolutely beamed and going down while trying to pop my ultimate portal. This was, again, a big mistake. It ends up costing us the game here. My teammate tries his best to go ahead and grab the banners and run away and get a revive, but unfortunately, there was a team on the revive beacon he tried to get to. It just goes to show how difficult Apex really is, especially as a solo player. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Everybody does. As long as you try your best to learn from them, I promise you will improve with time. And as always, let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know next time you play Apex if some of these tips help you guys. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. It truly means the world. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.